The South African Policing Union says the establishment of a specialised anti-gang unit in Gauteng should be expedited. The union's remarks come as police work to restore calm in a very troublesome Westbury after gang violence had resurfaced. So where are we on this, and what's the timelines to try and get on top of this? Sapu's national spokesperson, Lesiba Thobakgale, joining us this afternoon. Hello to you, Lesiba. Appreciate your time again here on eNCA. So, specialised anti-gang unit. I don't feel like this is a new conversation. I feel like you and I have spoken about this before, yet we don't seem to be making any progress. Why is this time going to be different?
Thank you, Gareth. We wish to greet the viewers back at home and also pass our condolences with the loss of Ntate Mark Pilgrim. The reality that we are faced with, Gareth, is clear that our communities, they continue to be terrorized by gangsters, and that cannot be allowed. You are correct to say that we had this conversation before, where we are talking about the issue of re-establishment of specialized unit, like your murder and robbery, your diamond, gold, and precious metal unit, and also when we look at the firearms unit, which clearly plays a critical role towards fighting and even preventing crime. But currently, we are now focused, clearly, Gareth, on the issue of the establishment of anti-gang units within the province of Gauteng. Because when we look at what is happening in Westbury, where 13 people were shot, and 2 of them lost their lives, which include even a student who goes to school. That on its own, it is really telling us that things are not in order. But the challenge we have within the South African Police Service is that we are always reactionary when it comes to issues like this. We've been on record talking about the issue of having specialized units like anti-gang to be established, and that process, we see the SAPS management not doing anything related to it, and we don't want to see it, the issue of gangsterism, going and even spreading in other provinces. We need to prevent crime. We don't need to wait for crime to occur. We need to establish such units so that we can deal with the issue of fighting crime, not to prevent, because the main objective of the police, it is to prevent. Crime prevention, it is the core of the police. Investigation comes secondary when crime has occurred. But lately, we can see the trend that SAPS management and the police ministry happen to be comfortable with them being reactionary when it comes to crime, but not coming and even applying solutions that are there to work to protect the inhabitants of the Republic, Gareth. That is the challenge we are faced with. And up until something is done with it, we'll continue to see South Africans and even those who are in this country being killed like the way that they are being murdered.
And many people and some critics have come out, Lesiba, and said the reason that a lot of this happens with the timing of police is because by reacting to crime, they get the news cameras there and they make the headlines. If you prevented crime, as you suggest, as the police should be doing, then nobody would ever know about it. You won't get the headlines as the police. But here's the question I'm wondering, though. To call for an anti-gang unit in Gauteng, there's 2 issues for me. One is, do we have the resources, A? And B, if we don't have the resources, where do we get the money to get those resources? It's well documented, Lesiba, how few police officers are able to do this kind of work.
When we look, Gareth, what is happening, they take the fewer resources that they have, where they are studying police stations, when they create. We have seen the minister, he was at Westbury during the last of the week, towards the end of this week, where he made promises to communities that he will establish a task team, which a task team, you are starving police stations to come and investigate. You are taking resources and even budget provisions from those police stations, and at that time, you cannot sustain them. After that project, then they will go back. So that's why we are saying that there is money in the police. They were able to take billions of rands back to National Treasury last year, but they cannot take that amount of money, utilize it to make sure that there are clear physical resources to ensure that this anti-gang unit that we are talking about, which is clearly re-established, more especially as a network agency here in Gauteng. Money, Treasury is able to make it available, and even in their budgetary provisions within the SAPS, they can be able to do that. There is just clear no political will that comes there. And you correctly said it, that some enjoy the PR exercise, they enjoy cameras, but that should occur at the expense of the lives of people. It cannot occur. It cannot be correct for that to occur at the expenses of the lives of South Africans. It cannot occur at the expenses of the lives of police officers who would go and be there doing their duties, having lesser resources and not being able to win against crime. So something needs to be done. The issue of the human capital, with the question that we have asked, we've seen the 10,000 that came. They need to ensure that they take some from those and even from other police stations where they can get manpower in order to capacitate the issue of anti-gang unit. Because we know, yes, we admit we don't have enough police officers, but it doesn't mean that we cannot do something in terms of the human capital and making physical resources available to bring us a permanent solution. Because if you have the anti-gang unit established in Gauteng as well, you need your crime intelligence to come on board. Who will know who is doing what is happening, in order to come with a preventative measure. But with what we see currently, when it comes to the issue of a task team only becomes reactionary because it is only after the fact, after those crimes have been committed, where they will go and investigate. We need to prevent crime. It is about time we spoke about a whole lot of things, but now police ministry and the police management, they need to focus on crime prevention measures that are available, that worked, that can be able to work for this country. That's what we need.
Tomorrow evening, we're hearing from Vincent Magwena, presidential spokesperson, Lesiba, that there's going to be a cabinet reshuffle. Should Thobakgale still be the Minister of Police?
Our position as Sapu has been clear about the issue of the minister, Gareth, that we do not want the current Minister of Police, to remain to be the Minister of the Police. We are not mincing our words there. It is upon the President to decide what he has to do. But our position is clear that we do not believe that the current Minister of Police assisted the South African police services with anything. Only we see him delivering crime stats, but he doesn't come and have measures that are appropriate to say, these are the measures that we will follow. All the recommendations that we are making, even when it comes to things that we know they worked before, he doesn't want to entertain them. There is no political will that comes from him. He cannot fight for the budget of SAPS not to be cut because he's a cabinet minister there at the cabinet. He cannot do that. So our position has been clear in terms of him, but we will await what the president will announce tomorrow evening.
Just so I'm understanding you, Lesiba, correctly, you are saying you would prefer Thobakgale not to be the police minister. You feel there's someone who could do a better job?
That is our position, Gareth. We are clear about that. We have pronounced before through a media statement that the current police minister must go. We have said that, and even now we are still reiterating what we have said previously. We are not mincing our words.
Well, I appreciate your time. We wait to see tomorrow evening what happens with the president's cabinet reshuffle. It has been confirmed by the presidency, and we wait to see what comes of the police minister as well. But we've now got the thoughts of Sapu's spokesperson, Lesiba Thobakgale, on the call for an urgent establishment as well of an anti-gang unit in Gauteng. But of course, it was only pertinent that I asked the question about that in charge of SAPS, namely, of course, Thobakgale, the SAPS and police minister.